Hello everyone, this is Eflex and welcome back to another A Producer's Approach video. In this video, we'll be looking at Punctual song Do It All Again featuring Jordan Shaw. So if you haven't listened to my videos in the past, I basically break down these videos into three separate sections. I have an intro backstory section, breakdown analysis section, and then lastly an outro section. So Punctual is a newer artist onto Monstercat, and Do It All Again is his first release from what I can remember back in February. And I think he has two more songs released on the label now, but Do It All Again is a song that vibed with me the best. So Do It All Again was released on the Monstercat Instinct side, which is a sub label of Monstercat, and they release more of the indie pop, kind of more melodic music. And Do It All Again kind of reminds me of the pop music I used to listen to in around the 2009, 2012 era. A lot of pop music was made kind of in the style of how this song sounds. And there's even a song that I used to listen to a lot that came out within that time period that is pretty similar to this song. So I don't know if this song was inspired by that song or just a coincidence, but I remember listening to this song and being like, wait, that sounds really similar to this song. And I listened to the other song. I was like, whoa, wow, it actually is pretty similar. So if you guys want to see what song that is, definitely keep watching the video as it progresses. But Punctual is a newer artist. I don't really know much about them, but I do know that this song is really good and it's really catchy to me. So, anyways, let's get into this breakdown. And this is Punctual song Do It All Again featuring Jordan Shaw. Let's get started.
We'll do it all again when all the lights go down till we both pass out and we come back round.
I do like the intro. The vocals have a lot of reverb and delay. The pad comes in as well, and then there's a melody playing as well at the same time. So there's like three different things just starting right off the bat. And then the visuals are pretty cool as well. And I believe the lyrics will be on the screen in case you don't know the song, that you can read the lyrics as I go. But when we get into this section, I'm going to switch to the other song because this section sounds pretty similar to another section of a song that I know of in the past. So let's keep going.
Tell me everything. Tell me all your deepest secrets. Be my remedy. Yeah.
All right, so within this section, you hear the kind of deeper plucks, you hear the hi-hats being played, and then you hear the vocals within that section all combined together. So it's a little bit different than the pads in the intro. But the plucks within this section remind me of the song Breathing by Jason Derulo, and I'm going to switch to that now. And the plucks are pretty much made in the same way at this time period, where it sounds like the instrument silent, or the VST called silent. It's like a software or plugin used that producers use to make certain sounds. A lot of EDM artists used it within this time period of 2011, and they still sometimes use it now. So here's the part that I thought sounded similar.
I miss you when I'm breathing. I only need you when my heart is beating. You are the color that I'm bleeding.
So to go back to Do It All Again, the plucks are in a higher pitch and breathing, but just the style of it, where the vocals being played, the plucks are being played on the bottom, and then you have some percussion. So just the style and the feel of the song feels very much like a 2011 Jason Derulo song, which is pretty interesting. I kind of like that music, and I do go back to listen to pop songs from that time period just because those are some of the songs I was listening to when I was growing up. So that's definitely interesting to point out, at least for me. So that's all I want to point out, and we'll get back into Do It All Again.
If I lose my way, will you bring me back to focus? Be my clarity. Every night you've been on my mind, but all I find is.
So basically, the vocals play out, you still hear the plucks, and then towards the end, you hear a kind of clap sound go, which is a nice percussion sound to kind of transition into this next section. And it is a little bit similar to some of those kind of I don't want to say they're cheesy, but they're kind of like cheesy, noticeable clap sounds that you would hear in like a pop song back in 2011, 2012. So definitely a cool transitioning part with the vocals slowly fading out a little bit with the effects. And then this part here, you hear the full kind of fullness of the chord progression and the mid bass sound. So really nice there because now you get a real fuller sense of the song. So let's keep going.
There's nothing by the morning, by the morning. And all that's left is the emptiness, but no regrets, 'cause you know that I want it. We'll do it all again when
All right, so that section there was the build up. There was a snare in the background. It's very low in volume and the timbre is very high pitched, so a lot of the low end was cut out, so you don't really hear it that much, but it's in the background when you hear it go almost sounds like the paper part of the snare. So it's a very kind of thin sounding snare building up. I didn't really hear much of a riser or VFX in there. I might have missed that, but the fullness of the sound really kind of encompasses that section with the vocals playing as well. And then there cuts out here, and then you hear the kind of main hook where do it all again. And then it goes when the lights go out, and then that's when the beat comes back in. So a nice kind of breath and in breath and breaking the tension within this part to build into the intro of the drop. And it's nice to use the hook within this section as well to really kind of hammer in the fact that this song is called Do It All Again. So let's keep going.
all the lights go down till we both pass out, and we come back round. We'll do it all again when all the lights go down till we both pass out, and we come back round. Holding on, we'll do it all again.
So within this section, I like how the vocals take the lead. The melody is playing on the top as well. And then you have the chord progression, and then you have the kick playing a 4/4 rhythm. And then you have the snares. I mean, not the snares, the hi-hats playing on every other beat. Yeah, every other beat sounds like, or every beat to give it a flow. Couldn't really tell there because I was kind of just kind of mesmerized by the whole fullness sounding of the bass sound. But within this section, you hear the vocals a little bit more, and then after that, you hear the melody within this second part of the drop more because the vocals are used more as accents. They're not the main focus. The melody becomes the main focus, and then the vocals come in to just say and again, a little bit later into each section. So it's not like the main focus of this second part of the first drop or chorus. So it's an interesting thing, but I do like the fullness of the bass sound, and just the lead synth sound sounds a lot like a older pop sound from the early 2010s. So just kind of a nostalgia trip for me. Anyways, let's keep going. Okay, so the hi-hat is actually on every offbeat, so it's on like the 2 and the 4, like boots, boots. So the kick plays and then the hi-hat plays after, not on the same time as the kick. And it's pretty cool within this section how there's a nice flow into the end of this drop into the break section here. The kick doesn't stop at all, but the main kind of bass chord progression kind of fades out a little bit, or is not as full within the section, but there is another sound added. But it's interesting how this song kind of just kept rolling with the kick, even though it's transitioning out of the drop into the break section. So definitely an interesting analysis and point there for this part of the song.
Till we go back round in circles, right back here again. Yeah. You're my adrenaline. It should hurt so good, and we should both be sick of it. Every night you've been on my
Okay, so within that last section, the kick keeps playing, and then there is another sound. I don't know if it's like an ARP sound playing in the background, but otherwise the sounds are pretty similar to the intro section, other than that newly added kind of, I want to say like an ARP sound, or maybe it's a different lead sound. And then you do hear those claps again towards the end, transitioning into this kind of build section into the second drop, which is pretty much the same structure in this section as the build up in the previous section. So the other thing is that within this build up section, the kick is cut out, or it stops, and you just hear the clap on the 2 and the 4 every other beat where the kick isn't played. So the kick kind of cuts out within this section, but in the last previous section, the kick is still there. So it's an interesting use of the percussion within two sections to keep the flow going. So, anyways, let's keep going.
By the morning, and all that's left is the emptiness, but no regrets, 'cause you know that I want it. We'll do it all again when all the
All right, so within that section, I didn't notice anything too different in terms of the build up. There was that snare in the background that built up again, and then there's the same kind of breath of air transition into the drop section. So nothing too different there from what I can tell. So we'll listen to the rest of the song, and I'll just talk after. Enjoy.
till we both pass out and we come back round. We'll do it all again when all the lights go down. Till we both pass out and we come back round. Oh, you know we'll do it all again and again and again. When the lights go down, we'll do it all again and again and again. When the lights go down, we'll do it all again.
Okay, so that is Punctual Song Do It All Again featuring Jordan Shaw. And what I wanted to mention backing up into that second chorus and drop is in the second part of that dropping chorus, there is a pad that's added within that section to give more ambience and to give more of a flow within the section, and just kind of a, I don't know, more urethral or more kind of euphoric type feeling within that section, more dreamy feeling, I guess you could say, in more relatable terms. I noticed that, which I didn't notice in the first drop, which I might have missed hearing, but that does give a little bit more flow and just kind of texture within that section, which is a really nice addition within that second drop. And the structure overall for that second drop is pretty similar to the first drop. So for as short of a song as this is, the structure's, you know, not too different within each section, but they work pretty well. The only part that the structure was a little bit different was in the break section after the first drop, and then the very beginning in the intro. It's a little bit different, but overall the song's really good. I still listen to this song a lot. I was kind of having a hard time focusing on certain sounds because I just kind of wanted to head bob through the song. So it's a very catchy song, and for 2 minutes and 21 seconds, it works very well. The structure of it is pretty straightforward, but it works really well for such a short song. I don't know if this song, if it was any longer, like a 3-4 minute song, it might get a little too repetitive. So it's really good for a 2 minute, 21 second song. And I do like how it reminds me of Jason Derulo's song Breathing, just in the way the plucks are. Really like how deep those plucks are. It reminds me a lot of, I guess, what you would call now like deep house or future house. That's kind of the vibe I get from the song Do It All Again, but it has the kind of nostalgic lead synth sound like you would hear in the early 2010 songs. And the vocals have a lot of different vocal processing that they used to use in that time period as well, with some tuning, a lot of delay, a lot of reverb. It just reminded me a whole lot of a older pop song. So um, overall, it's a really good song. Definitely would recommend you guys listen to this song. If you guys want to listen to Punctual's other stuff, I believe it's on Monstercat Instinct as well. Personally, for me, I'm not as big of a fan of his other songs other than Do It All Again, but that's just my opinion. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown analysis video. Like, comment, subscribe if you like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next A Producer's Approach video. Have a good one, everyone. Peace.